Hello, welcome back to another video on the channel where healing and spiritual growth are front and center. And again, trauma healing, to be more specific. Alright, you all, everything, all about it, alright, with God's wisdom. And this video shout out goes to Alessandra Hernandez. Thank you for your continued support. And forgive me if I mispronounced any of that. Okay, how to deal with toxic narcissistic family members. Okay, this is a very common question. Because remember, like I've talked about before, how God works when he starts revealing our enemies. Okay, that starts with the individual narcissistic abuser. Okay, right? Alright, yeah, you know, somebody that we either were roommating with, either we were married to, dating, acquaintances with, what have you. Okay, it starts there. Alright, you see, this is part of God turning things back around into the upright position where they should be. Alright, so he starts to reveal them on the individual level. Alright, then, for many of us, the next phase, he starts to reveal them in the workplace. Oh, you see? Alright, well, then he reveals them in the family. Then, that prepares us. Alright, because think about how God works, okay? Because he knows how we are, right? He knows how we are as human beings, okay? And so God had this all strategically planned out. He knows what he's doing. He reveals it on the individual level. We go through the acceptance phases with that to overcome and break that trauma bond, right? Okay, then next comes, whoa, why are we seeing more narcissists all around us, okay? Or narcissistic abusers. At the time, we hadn't yet separated the fact that the actual narcissists themselves are the demon spirits, right? And they're attached to the human host, the narcissistic abuser. Yeah, so I discernment. Anyhow, I know many people still refer to the human as the actual narcissist because it does help put it in perspective during the beginning and intermediate, I guess, phases of the healing process, okay? But the Lord had me separate the two, okay? Yes, on his time always, all right? Because that's for those who are getting to that next level, all right? Who are already doing that, okay? For when you get to that level where we gotta, you know, for that sharper discernment, okay? We have to be able to do that, all right? For a sharper discernment. Anyhow, all right, dealing with those toxic family members. So after he reveals them in the workplace, we go through that acceptance. And that's typically where we start to learn to set boundaries. That's right, where we set boundaries. Learn to say no. I would tell you all, oh man. Yes, personal testimony time. One toxic workplace. Ah, man, it was so liberating. When I verbalized, when they were asking me, okay, you know, to go somewhere that I was like, no, you know, to get personal with coworkers, and I simply said no, and that was it. So it felt very liberating, absolutely. And then when they were trying to force me to participate in the satanic ritual, yep, God told me, get up and get out of there. So I got out of there. Those of you who know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about when I say satanic ritual that goes on the world stage. Like tricks of the enemy. A lot of people just don't know it. And they blindly follow the blind. Alright? And we're talking about spiritually blind. Alright? You all spiritual that we're talking here. Alright? They're spiritually dead. And so, yes. Alright? It is the, you know, narc leading the narcs. There you go. Think about it. Oh man, that makes so much sense. Yes, the narcissistic abusers leading the narcissistic abusers. No wonder it's a circus out there on the world stage. Alrighty then. Back to how to deal with toxic family members. Alright, let's do this. Hey, listen, we got to find the humor in this stuff, but boy, when that popped, I was like, wow, you know what? Yeah, sure is. That's why everything's in disarray out there. Think about it. Narcissistic abusers leading narcissistic abusers. Whew. Okay, right. Yeah, we see how that's working out for him, don't we? Okay. How can you not laugh at the stupidity? Alrighty then. Now, okay, because I want to remind everybody, alright, when we start adhering to Matthew 10:37, that's right, the enemy is going to try and test our faith even more. Guilt trip galore and things like that. Alright? Jesus is telling us in Matthew 10:37, he that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. It's like I've said previously and elsewhere, that I would rather be worthy of Jesus. Thank you. Okay? And not only that, the world tricks a lot of people into putting family, a biological family, up on a pedestal. We're not to do that. That's committing idolatry. Okay? But we got to remember, okay, that, yeah, we're not to do that. One of God's 10 commandments, right? That's right. Thou shalt not commit adultery or idolatry. Well, and adultery, yes. But idolatry, we're not supposed to do that. We got to put God first. Yeah, God first, and keep God in everything that we do. And retain God in our knowledge. Every single day. Yeah, but narcissistic abusers that slap the label of being a Christian on themselves, hoping that that'll give them a free pass. That's right. They call themselves a Christian, but their actions show us otherwise. Yeah, see, this is the thing. The enemy wants to get it twisted. Okay, the enemy wants to paint God's chosen empath as the bad guy because we start obeying God. So, of course, to them, they're going to perceive us wrong anyway, which they always did anyhow, you all. Chosen one, they always get it wrong with chosen one. That we're actually following God's orders by not doing what God tells us not to do. And so, yes, we're not conforming to this world. So, yes, they're going to call us the bad guy. Oh, well, it is a spiritual battle for the mind. And just like with every battle, you're going to have two sides. Another reason why we learn to separate the physical and the spiritual. Because you're going to have two sides. Think about that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Alright, another reason why the Lord has us learning how to do that. Alright, to separate concepts so that we can discern better. Because we're not wrestling against the physical. Alright, we're not wrestling against flesh and blood. We're wrestling against that spiritual wickedness in high places. High places, that's the mind. Okay, thoughts. They're thoughts. So, how to deal with toxic family members? You know, by not dealing with them, essentially. Well, we simply, the same way that we deal with any toxic narcissistic abuser. Right? Limited contact if we must. If we still have to have some interaction for whatever reason, listen, everybody's circumstances are different. I say this a lot for a reason because it's true. Everybody's circumstances are different. Alright? This is why there is no one-size-fits-all solution. This is why you have the option of limited no contact and full no contact. Now, we do go full no contact with the ones that we can. Absolutely must do 100% no contact. With the ones that we can, like ex-roommates, if we're no longer at the toxic workplace, ex-toxic coworkers, things like that. But when it comes to biological family and you have to have some interaction with them, you have to, for whatever reason. Mind you, not all of your biological family members, you don't have to have, you don't have to have interaction with them. That's also why we need that discernment. Right? Because I'm here to tell y'all, depending on the circumstances, as to who we would have to have any interaction with for whatever the life circumstance is. Right? But we go limited contact, cutting them off at the soul level. They get no more empathy. They get no more compassion. And we do not fall for the puppy dog eyes. Alright? Don't fall for that sad, woe me, pity party with the puppy dog eyes. Because that's what they want. They're trying to tug at your heartstring. Right? Never forget that, you all. That's from the enemy. God already knows your heart. Just like I said in previous videos. God already knows your heart. He ain't got to tug at nothing. God don't Yes, he does not have to tug at nothing. So there you go. There's your reminder for whoever needs that one. If you start to sense, because you sense it in the spiritual. If you start to sense something or someone trying to tug at the heartstring, I feel the wrath of God when that happens. I don't know about y'all, but that intuition starts burning. And I'm like, oh, heck no. Not happening. Alright, and so we get better at that. Alright, the more that we get aware of it, the more we pay attention to when God is letting us know, because that's not coming from God. There's no reason. Chosen ones don't go around doing that. You will not find another chosen one going out there trying to purposely tug on people's heartstrings. In other words, you know what I'm talking about, y'all. Okay, when we share certain things with each other, alright, about whatever might be going on in our lives, it's not to tug on anybody's heartstrings. And we'll know it by the way it is phrased and by the tone behind it. You see what I'm saying? Discernment. That's another reason why we got to have that discernment. Alright, but our toxic, narcissistic family members, they're going to. Right, they're going to try to tug at the heartstrings, especially if they have convinced themselves of something about themselves, right, that would be any form of pain or suffering, okay? They'll sit there and do that, and then, you know how they complain about stuff all the time anyway, right? Well, part of the reason they do that is because they want to tug at the heartstrings. They want to complain about this or that, whatever it is. They want to complain about it. And then because the world, likes to participate, that fallen narcissistic abuse matrix likes to participate in pity party. Right? So there you go. Right? Life happens, you all. It is what it is. But we don't allow for them to tug at our heartstrings anymore. Sure, because we do that, we learn to not let them tug at our heartstrings anymore. Sure, they're going to be like, dang, what's wrong with her? What's wrong with him? You get used to it. You get used to it because that's how they think. They've got that black and white thinking, right? And they're always negative, right? So they're always going to wonder what is wrong. There ain't nothing wrong with us. There ain't nothing wrong with us. God made us the way he made us, in his perfect image. And we know this now. Right? And so once that sinks in, it's like, oh, that's how God helps to restore your healthy level of self-confidence and self-esteem as well. Is by knowing that, and then learning to embrace and accept the fact that when we look in the mirror, that, you know what? We're looking at God's creation. We're looking at God's creation. And that he created us exactly how he intended to. And then as he's doing that preparation, as we become that new creature, the one that God intended, but as far as our physical features, our bone structure, everything, our biological side, God did that. God did that strategically. Okay? And the way he envisioned. So the way we look is the way God planned for us to look. There you go. There ain't nothing wrong with y'all. Don't let the world tell you otherwise. Don't let a narc convince you that something's wrong with you. Ain't nothing wrong with you. Alright? So never forget that. But talk to family members. Oh yeah, they will. They'll come out and be like, dang, and then try to throw fiery darts. Oh, many of us got those looks of I guess you could call it a puzzled look, as we were able to remain silent the majority of the time and only keep it business related. Think about that for a second. Yes, it's not personal. Business. For example, okay, so-and-so needs something from the store. Okay. And they give us the means to get it for them. Alright, that's business, not personal. Think about it. Okay? Being kind and courteous, right? As peacekeepers that we are. But we no longer allow ourselves to get drawn into long, nonsensical conversation with them. Because when we realize and we know that all they're going to talk about are the things that the illusions out here on the world stage, and they're going to be complaining about it. Yes, you know what I'm talking about with that P matrix. We don't mess with that. We're done. We walked away from that a long time ago, y'all, because that is narcissistic abuse on the societal level. All right, seriously, how can you miss the pattern once you start learning about the pattern? How can you miss it? I mean, it's like, really? Okay, yeah, and it's all part of the the show, if you will, as we learn down in the rabbit hole. Some of our other fellow chosen ones who said, hey, get you some popcorn and sit back and enjoy the show, why don't you? Hey, because that's what we're watching unfold, and it's the same old stuff over and over and over and over. And that's what these narcissistic abusers who are trauma bonded to that. And so when we realize that we have our family members who are also trauma bonded to that, right, they're still playing that game, they're still puppets on a string, we leave them there. That's really the biggest way to deal with them. All right, so for additional information and help on how to deal with toxic narcissistic family members in any environment, or toxic narcissistic people in any environment, the course How to Deal with Toxic Coworkers is for you. Absolutely. All right, links to that are also in the video description below. For quicker access, you can hop on over there to the landing page and view a short intro video to learn about a little bit more. You got 5 tried and true steps for learning how to deal with them. And I talked about a few of them in this video. Okay, for example, that one about keeping it, and it's not personal, it's business when it comes to family members. Okay, so there you go. You can take those 5 tried and true steps and fine tune and tweak them for whatever your circumstances are when having to have a little limited contact, having to interact with, yes, toxic narcissistic family members, acquaintances, co-workers, you have it. All right, in any environment. Tried and true steps, y'all. Seriously. Yep, we ain't up here teaching what we ain't practicing, just so you know. All right, there you go. I just wanted to share those steps and strategies with you all because they work. And like I say often, they work. And, you know, listen, you got to fine tune and tweak some things, some of the concepts. But the fundamental concept works. It's just a matter of using your self-thinking when you modify to make it work for you. Okay, there you go, because they do work. And it takes practice like everything. All right, never forget that important part. Okay, as always, if you've got any questions, you know where to reach me for additional information, insight, and other good stuff. You can check out these videos right here. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father, and you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.